I moved to this small town in Ohio. It's really small, only like 2,000 people total population. I am staying the night at my buddy's house. His whole family had lived there for like 3 or 4 generations. His dad is really proud to be from the town and loves to tell us some of the history of the place. Me and my friends were both 16 at the time, and we were playing video games in his room. His dad walks up to us and says, "Video games? When I was 16, me and my buddies were drinking in the woods and chasing girls." Then he gets a weird look on his face. He asks us, "Did I ever tell you guys about the railroad tracks?" I look over at my buddy. He is as confused as I am. We both tell him no. He begins to tell us about these old railroad tracks outside of town in the woods. Tells us the place had a history of people getting hit by trains there. He proceeds to tell us about the time him and his friends went there and they were teens. Said that they all used to get drunk and go into the woods often. It wasn't a big deal for them, I guess. Me, a kid from the city, was pretty uneasy about being in the woods at night. He tells us they went down the tracks for a good hour. He said that the 3 of them all felt really on edge, like someone was following them. No one wanted to call it out at the time though, because according to him, no one wanted to be that pussy. He tells us that all of a sudden, up ahead, they notice a faint light. He tells us that the tracks have not been used in years, so it's not a train. The lights start to get a bit brighter, and they notice that it is somewhat swaying back and forth. They realize it was a person holding a hand lamp. They immediately book it into the woods for fear it was the cops. They all make it home, and he said that he told his dad about it the next day. His dad proceeds to tell him a story about how when he was a kid, there was this guy who would roam the tracks. He wasn't sure if he was a vagrant or a wanderer or whatever. Apparently, dude got drunk or something, and a train ran him over. Flash forward to when me and my friend are both 19. We drink very frequently now. I remember the story his dad told us. I decide, hey, let's bring some more people and some beers and check out this tracks. That next weekend we get some people together who are all down for this night walk. All in all, there's probably about 7 of us. My younger sister brought 2 of her friends. Anyways, we grab 2 backpacks and load them up with cheap beer. I am wearing one and my buddy has the other. We all set off to the tracks. I get to the woods, following my friend. He knows the area really well and is acting as the guide for the night. The woods are really, really dark and I hate them. I keep my composure though, because I don't want to look like a pussy in front of everyone else. The bush was really thick. We all keep getting stuck on tree branches and whatnot. After like half an hour, we finally hit the tracks. I am so tired already. We start to walk down the tracks eastward. My buddy tells us that the tracks wrap around the town for a bit, and if we head east, we could just go back into the woods and still be somewhere local. We walk for a few, passing out beers to everyone, actually having a pretty good time. And then we hit the bridge. We all kind of stop and notice this bridge coming up. It's pretty sizable, it's wooden. My buddy says, "I've never seen this out here before." I instantly call him out, because he always proclaims that he knows this area like the back of his hand. We approach the bridge. The tracks start to head into a small ravine, with the ground coming up on both sides of us. We start to walk underneath the bridge. It's so old. I look up, and I can see huge holes on the bridge. It's dilapidated, and obviously has not been used in a while. We all stop underneath it, and my buddy decides let's take a break and drink a few. I am really uneasy at this point, but everyone else seems okay. We're all just hanging out, laughing, being loud as hell, mind you. That's when we hear it, a voice coming from the woods. Weirdly enough, it was a really clear voice, but I could not make out what it said, but it was a man's voice. It almost sounded like gibberish or someone talking really fast or backwards. I about shit my pants. Everyone freezes and gets down low to the ground. We all just sit there frozen, looking around to see if we can see anyone approaching. It's dead silent. Not even the wind is blowing. We wait for a few more minutes, and then after not hearing anything, we pack up and keep on walking east. Everybody is visibly shaken up now. We all walk a bit away from the bridge. No one is talking. I can't shake the feeling that someone is following us. I can't stand the silence anymore. I asked the group out loud, so we all just heard that, right? It was a man's voice for sure. Did anyone hear what it said? My sister was the first one to answer me. She said she thought it sounded like a different language. Everyone agrees that we heard something, but no one really wants to talk about it anymore. We all decide that maybe we should leave. My buddy says that he is not sure where we are at this point. He says if we keep walking this way, we should come up to the brick factory. We all trust him and followed away. It's been a good 15 or so minutes now since we left the bridge. At this point, the woods around here are kinda over the tracks, blocking out whatever moonlight there was. I keep hearing shit move and branches scratching in the surrounding woods. I just want to get off these damn tracks. At this point, we are kinda in two groups, walking about 10 feet away from each other. Leading the group is my one friend, and with two of my other buddies, and the group behind him is me, my sister, and her two friends. My sister's friend is actually walking really close to me. We walk for a bit more, then suddenly, the group in front just stops. We stop too. I walk up to my buddy and ask what's up. He points up ahead and says, "You see that light?" My gut instantly drops, and I tell him to screw off, thinking that he was screwing with us. I look ahead and see it. There is a light there. It's very faint and kind of flickering. It looks like it might be a quarter mile or so up the tracks, but it is a light nonetheless. We all kinda just sit there, looking at it, frozen, not wanting to move. We watch it in complete silence. I notice that it is in fact getting brighter. It's moving closer to us. I just start panicking. Let's get the hell out of there, I say. I'm sure these woods lead into town. Let's just go. My friend, who has the biggest balls at this point, says no. We should keep walking and see what it is. The girls all instantly shriek with disapproval. They want to leave, and so do I. I tell my buddy that the girls are scared and we should leave ASAP. He told me to wait here with them and that the three of them will go and check it out. I really had no choice. I was not going to go into the woods, not knowing where the hell I was at. Okay man, hurry up though. They head off walking. It's still super dark. They quickly fade into the night, but I can still hear the footsteps on the gravel. A good 5 minutes go by. I can no longer hear them. I still see the light. I am still with the girls. They are all really close to me at this point. I try to make small talk to ease the mood, but no one really wants to talk. It's so quiet at this point, it's almost deafening. Then I hear really loud footsteps approaching us. It's my friends. They are just running at us. They are full sprint. They are absolutely terrified. My buddy shouts, "Into the woods, now." Without hesitation, we ran with him. At this point, my adrenaline is jacked. I can only focus on running and not falling. I barely remember going through the woods. I know we were pretty deep into the forest, but it felt like we only ran in the woods for a few minutes. We ended up on a back road outside of town. After we figure out where we were at and we all calm down, I asked my buddy what the hell happened. He and my two other friends swear that when they got close enough to see it, it was a man holding a lantern. He was not all there though. He was missing an arm and part of his torso. My one friend said he did not even see any legs. I actually enjoyed this thread so much, I wanted to bump with some stories that have happened to me. This is not a LARP and I am not schizo. This is nothing fabricated, just short little stories. Backstory. My dad is a very hardcore drug addict. It's truly terrifying and really made my life hell growing up until I was old enough to get the hell away. He would always say things like how he had to fight for his soul and a bunch of creepy biblical demonic shit when he was clean, and he would be telling me about his trips. Anyway, the earliest spooky thing I can remember was seeing what I guess was an angel. I know how the Bible describes angels, and it was not that, so I don't know. I was walking down the street with my grandma back to my grandparents' house, and I saw this thing 30 feet away, walking towards us on the same sidewalk. That was a really tall woman. It looked like one of those marble carvings of angels with wings and everything, except the entire thing was a rainbow color. Think like how oil looks on the ground, but instead of a black color, it was really bright. It lasted for about 10 seconds of it walking towards us and us walking towards it when it disappeared. My grandparents called it my guardian angel that watches over me to protect me from all of the evil shit that my dad brought on. I still remember vaguely what it looked like. Fast forward like 5 years later, and I experienced some aliens. We lived at this house, and I remember about the same time my dad was on a bender and getting really violent and twisted with me and my mom. I saw UFOs fly near the house 3 to 4 times, but the scariest thing happened outside of my window one night. I was with my cousin, sharing a race car bed. We were up really late, and he gets my attention without moving and says to look through the window. I do, and I swear, 2 stereotypical gray aliens are looking into the window at us. Big gray triangle-shaped heads and huge black angled eyes with their fingers on the windows peering in. The fingers were extremely long, like twice the size of human fingers, and padded at the ends and pressed against the window, like how a frog's fingers are. It was terrifying. My cousin and I just stayed awake, trying to hide that we were staring at them for about an hour or 2 until we passed out. The oddest part of it was that the window was about 15 to 20 feet off the ground, so I'm not sure how that happened, but we both saw the same thing, very clearly. There's been a few spoopy things since then, but nothing that can top the true hell house I left before. There is no way a demon or several were not inside this home. It started around 15 years old when we had just moved into this new house. My dad has been clean for a while at this point. The first week I was there, the bedroom door was open late at night, and I was just hanging out in my room. I felt really off, like I was being watched, and I look outside of my door, and I see a shadow in the doorway, and my door slams shut. The door opens up into my room, so I could not have been pushed, if that makes sense. I absolutely sprint to my parents' room and wake them up, and of course, nothing is there. That was only the start, really. Fast forward a few years later, and my dad gets back on drugs, heavy this time, and shit just starts getting freaky. Just a really terrible feeling in the house. Just being there drained you and made you depressed and empty and afraid, even when no one was home or nothing was going on in one of his strung out episodes. He would just start talking in a crazy voice, saying he will spread out blood on the walls and all kinds of crazy shit. He ends up getting clean again, and I will continue into what I would say is by far the most horrific part of my life I've ever experienced. Anyway, so this was 2 years ago now. My mom and my little brother left my dad for a job opportunity, and because their marriage was kind of falling apart. I had to stay behind to finish college and try to keep my dad somewhat stable. When my mom and my brother left, it seriously was like the last bit of light left in my home just left, and more evil started pouring in. The feelings got so intense that I could not even go downstairs into the basement. It felt like the majority came from down there, but at this point, it was all through the house. You could just feel the evil near the end. My dad starts hearing shit in the walls and the attic, and swears someone is watching him and I in the house. He tells my mom every time, who does not believe him, because he is on and off a major junkie. I believe him. He starts doing drugs again, and seriously, all hell breaks loose. He starts creeping through the house at all hours of the night, trying to find the source of what these noises are. He even had me use my stethoscope on the walls to try and find something. I'm a medical guy. The crazy, draining, malicious feelings of the house got worse and worse until my dad and I both started hearing stuff. At this point, my dad is so strung out, he lays prone with rifles aimed outside of the window, claiming he sees people outside with lighters watching us, and even claimed to see this white figure levitating up from his bedroom window a few times, as well as searching our basement for any tunnels since the noises continued. My mom finally convinced him to leave the house long enough for me to get my things and get the hell out of there. At this point, the malicious aura in the house was not even subtle or building. It was like almost every single room that you walked into was just messed up, besides for mine. I had my girlfriend help me move my stuff, and as we got the last box, we both heard something downstairs. Looking downstairs one more time, the strongest feeling of darkness and fear and evil washed over me. It was by far the most terrifying thing I've ever felt. I got the hell out of there and lived with my GF from then on, and that was that. The only issue I had after that was seeing a shadow standing outside of the bedroom door right after I moved in. I told it to screw off and said a prayer for the house and banished it, and my life has been amazing ever since then. I am pretty sure that whatever kind of spirit or demon that it was attached to my dad, because at the end there, it really was like the last few episodes of Haunting of Hill House type of climax. My dad ended up staying in the house and doing drugs. He stopped bathing because he was afraid to pull the curtain. He bought pets to keep in the house, to keep a keen eye on the place, and regularly kept candles lit with all of the lights in the house off at night. I'm not sure, whatever. My parents split ways and sold the house, and it has been on the market for about 3 to 4 years now. If whatever was there is still there, I feel sorry for the next family, but maybe they will be able to deal with it better than mine. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Not any really childhood stories, but I have some from age 11 to now. That is childhood, buddy. Nothing too spoopy, but it freaked me out, and then hammered in some weird habits. When I was younger, me and my brother would share a room, and he would leave the doors open to the hallway and closet. It never bothered me at first, but by the time I was 7 years old or so, I would have troubles falling asleep, and I would have weird dreams. I can't remember any, but I would always wake up feeling uncomfortable, like I was being watched. My eyes would always be attracted to the cracked closet door. My parents were divorced and had joint custody, so I bounced back and forth every week. At one house, we continued to share a room. At the other, we finally got our own. That was when the things started to get downright creepy. At my mom's, I had my own room upstairs at the end of the hallway, right beside this tiny-ass linen closet. For whatever reason, they put up this full-size mirror on the closet door, so as soon as you turn into the hallway, you would see your reflection at the end. I hated that mirror from day one. Around 11 years old, I graduated from feeling uneasy with an open door to being so uncomfortable I could not stand it. I started seeing shadows creep through the cracked open door into my bedroom and going into / coming out of my sliding closet door that would never stay closed. So I started to make sure that my doors were fully closed every night before going to bed and wake up to them being at least partially open. It got to the point that in order to sleep, I had to barricade myself in and keep the closet door shut. Basically shove towels and laundry against the bottom of the doors to keep them closed. The closet door refused to stay closed, even after my attempts to keep it from opening. About a year after that, I would start getting some auditory hallucinations. Not every night, mind you. It would come and go in spurts. Sometimes I would get them every night for a week, then nothing for months, only to hear shit again every few days, etc. I heard everything from random gibberish to hush whispers, some directed to me and some not, to a voice saying my name in a sing-songy way, like it was a nursery rhyme. A few times it was multiple voices at once, starting quiet and getting louder until they screamed my name. The most sporadic was a violent barking. It sounded almost human, which scared me the most. I moved into the basement room when my brother moved out when I was 16, thinking it would help, but it did not. The door was in an alcove sort of thing, so I could not see it from my bed. Auditory hallucinations got worse, and I started seeing distinct figures, and my posters would change in front of me. One figure in particular would appear almost every night, half sticking out of the alcove. No visible face, and it appeared androgynous, but it felt feminine in an awful way, always staring at me. I began hearing things during the day, and seeing shadowy figures everywhere. The Androgynous Shade would constantly call out my name, trying to get me to walk towards it. I could hear the creepiest laughter coming from just out of range of my vision, so I don't think it was alone. The barking was worse too. I remembered a tactic I used when I was younger and only saw shadows. I would cover my ears and my face, which would block out the worst of the auditory shit, but not the figure. I always heard it calling to me at night, so I began almost chanting the names of people and things, not all real, that I felt a strong and positive connection to in an effort to make it go away. Now, this is where I'm not sure if I was delusional or if it was actually paranormal. After about 2 weeks of those chants, and more than moderate success, I started feeling an awful presence between my back and the wall. Then I heard something yell my name right in my ear and felt a hand press against my back. I almost fell out of bed and cried a bit out of fear. I was 17. Now I live with my brother and have not had any issues. I've heard a few things right before bed, but very faintly. I no longer chant before bed, but need some minor light source or I cannot sleep. All doors need to be totally shut, closet door needs to be locked and minorly barricaded. I still sleep with my ears covered, back now flat against the wall, and I need to face my door. The only spooky part about living here is my closet. I've woken up to it open 3 or 4 times. Once when it was locked the night before, picture related. It's my current closet door. Okay, I will start with my most recent story. I was around 20 years old when this happened. I am going camping with my friends right before I leave for boot camp. We hike about 1.5 miles into the woods to our normal spot on a sandbar of the Carbon River. We get to our normal spot. 2 very nice potheads already at our fire pit. They see our tents and supplies and tell us that they are leaving after the next bowl and they will keep the fire going for us. Our group consists of friend A, friend B, his dog, and friend C and myself. We set up our tent and get out the food. We give 2 hot dogs to the potheads as they leave. It's about 4 p.m. at this point. We keep the fire going and chill out by the fire. We are swatting mosquitoes and telling jokes. At around 8 p.m., we can smell something really stinky. We decide to look around the sandbar for what it could be. Friend B's dog starts sniffing at what looks like a stick poking out of the ground. We go over to it and like the dumbass I am, I yank it out of the ground before even looking at what it is. It was a motherfucking dog, and its leg was sticking out of the ground. I threw the dead dog to the side, all of us flipping out. It must have been buried recently. It was not decomposed too much. Feeling like a shithead, I bury the dog deeper this time. We all go back to the campfire and talk about other things to try and lighten the mood. It gets to about 9:30 p.m. It's getting dark, and we realize we sucked at planning. We have another hour of fire left with the wood we brought, and all of our phones were dead or dying. Friend B and C decide to be morons and just leave, because they will not have a fire all night. Friend A and myself are left with a dwindling fire, a crank-powered 12-lumen flashlight, and nothing to do but bullshit. It's 11 p.m. It's completely dark now, and only embers are left in the fire pit. We are silent, listening to the river. It was peaceful. We feel safe seeing another fire going about 1 mile upstream. Refer to the picture for the next part. We hear rustling in the bush hanging over the river to our island. It's probably just a raccoon, so I think, whatever. We shrug it off and eat in melted s'mores in darkness. I hear the bush shake violently. I hear something fall in the river, like something jumped out of the bush and into the water. I shine my flashlight in that direction, but there is nothing. There are some large, long-strutted footsteps on the rocks near the dead dog. I am weirded out now. My flashlight is dying, so I start cranking it like a madman. My friend throws some sticks in the fire pit and pours lighter fluid on top of it. This 6-foot flame comes from the fire pit. It feels safe for an instant. I can see nothing on the island while it is bright. The flames die down a bit, and the sticks crackle. The strange noises have stopped. We take turns going to the shore and bringing sticks back up. It gets to 1 a.m. The trips to get sticks is getting to be a nuisance. I ask friend 1 if he wants to leave. No. Do you in on? Nah, let's tough it out. We let the fire die again. 10 minutes later, I hear those damn steps again in a different direction. I shine a light in that direction. There is nothing there, but I look closely. There is a large, hunched up shape wading upriver about 50 yards away. It gets onto land across the river, and I can't see if it's on 2 legs and very hunched or on all 4 legs. It moved up the cliff and disappeared. For the rest of the night, we heard noises on the island all around us, never seeing anything. both of us sitting back to back at the tent. When the noises got close, we would both go over to the beach and gather wood while the other held the light and hatchet. While the fire was going, the noises would stop or be far away, but as soon as it would die, whatever it was would walk near us in the pitch darkness. This continued all the way until morning. We went to talk to friend A's dad about it, and he said that we should never go there again. He has been in that forest and seen some strange things. I was walking home late at night after a party. I was slightly drunk, but the cold is pretty sobering. I have to walk nearly 2 hours just to get home. I am walking past a cornfield near a forest. There are no streetlights at all. I have no cell phone on me. I only have the moon for company. It's a quiet night. I feel very calm. The party was decent and I don't really mind the walk. I suddenly hear some rustling from the cornfield beside me. I stop and stare into the cornfield. The rustling continues. I can see the stalks dividing and moving. I ain't running. I stand there and stare at the cornfield, ready for anything. A guy in dark clothes, followed by 5 other people, walk out of the cornfield. I don't know them, but recognize them from the party. Nothing spoopy here. Guess it's time to keep on walking. Hey Anon, the lead one says. They are about a year younger than me. I have seen some of them somewhere before. Anon, you were at this party, right? He says, as they seem to fan out around me. Yeah, I say, now fully on guard. We want your wallet and jacket, Anon. Fuck you, you piece of shit, I say almost impulsively. I'm a bit of a hothead. One of the guys who is moving around jumps at me and grabs me from behind. Give us your wallet, the lead guy in black yells. I am grappled from behind, loosely, but I don't like this position. Alright, just go away and I will get it, I say, bluffing through my teeth. The guy lets me go, and they each have an expression on their face like they won. As soon as I am let go, I deck the guy who grabbed me in the jaw as hard as I can. I hear this loud fleshy cracking noise as he falls with his head smacking the pavement with a loud thud. The next guy beside me seems stunned, and I immediately swing at him too as his friend falls. I clip his nose as he tried to duck away. The other 4 are now yelling various things and moving towards me. My boxing experience has already kicked in, but I don't box 6v1. What the hell is this shit? It's 5v1 now, and the other kid's nose is bleeding like crazy as he backs away. 4v1, I hope. I swing at one of the other 4 coming at me, hitting his jaw, and he stops, but the other 3 are swinging at me. I am hit in the head. I'm covering up. I am hit again and again. God damn it. I can't sit here and clinch up, I think, as I do just that, being walloped on by 4 guys. Bloody nose guy is still recovering, and Jawboy is unconscious on the road still. As they begin to knee at my face, I know I need to stop clinching, or I will get knocked the hell out and messed up. I get out of the clinch, throwing a haymaker as I do. I am bound to hit one of them. Boom, in the temple. Kid backs up, holding his head. Another punch to the face. I can see my blood dripping off my face onto the gravel road. I just keep swinging and don't fall down. That's what I keep thinking in my head. Just keep swinging and don't fall down. I do just that, going back and forth with the other 3. One of them trying to grab me around the waist until he gets a swift elbow to the top of the head. Another punch to my face as I elbowed him. I can feel a hot mess building up on my face. I swing twice more at one of the other standing kids, a decent straight cross combo, both landing nicely, but he does not go down. He is just dazed. At this time, only 2 of the guys are focused on me rather than their wounds. One of them swings above my guard and hits my eyebrow. I can feel it split. What is this shit? Why am I fighting 6 guys? I turn and book it, looking behind me once to see Jawboy still on the ground, Noseboy holding his nose and shaking a fist, another 2 holding their cheeks while 2 gave chase for about 25 meters until they fucked off back to their friends. I walk home for another hour looking over my injuries. My favorite shirt is ripped and covered in blood. There is blood on my shorts and all over my face. Seriously, lots. I get home and decide to go to the hospital after looking myself in the mirror. I have a minor concussion, a minor chipped tooth. I have a split between my nose and my eye, needing 2 stitches, and a 2.5-inch split right above my eyebrow, needing 4 stitches. I broke that asshole's nose and that asshole's jaw. He had to eat through a straw for a month. When I was clenched up, it felt like forever, blow after blow hitting me, but it was probably only a minute. The whole thing only lasting 5 or 6. If I would have fallen down, I would have been stomped into oblivion. That was scary. I used to be really poor. I was growing up in this run-down part of town. There were lots of old warehouses and abandoned brick buildings. Tons of alleyways too, which are fun to explore. I have this girl who lives near me. She tells me that she found a weird alley where she can't hear anything. I'm not sure what she means, so I follow her. She takes me to an alley that I've always avoided. No real reason for that, it just always creeped me out. Keep in mind, the neighborhood is not busy at all, not many passing cars or anything. Plus, we're in an alleyway, so it's super quiet. But then, as we are walking down the alley, everything goes dead silent. The girl stops, looks me in the eyes, and points to her ears. I nod, because I feel something like a pressure, similar to the feeling that you get on a plane. The girl starts talking and shouting and stamping her feet, but I cannot hear shit. I try to talk, and I cannot hear anything. The feeling creeps me out, and I turn to leave the alley. I notice I cannot hear my footsteps until I pass a certain crack in the concrete. Then the pressure goes away, and we can hear stuff again. We talked about it a lot after that, but I personally never went in again. Seems like this must have some sort of mundane explanation, but nobody has ever been able to provide one.